CNN cuts off the congressman when he says Hillary's a liar. Actually, it probably was just a TV glitch, but the latest WikiLeaks transcripts do show that Hillary tells different stories to different people. She has, as she put it when she talked privately with bankers, I have public positions and private positions. So what does that mean? Which position's the real one? We need a debate between Hillary and Hillary. So let's try some of that now. On the campaign trail, she says this.
We're going to tell companies that try to move jobs out of our country that if they try to, they're going to have to pay an exit tax and return every penny. Every penny.
Yeah, punish those companies. I don't like open trade, she says, and yet WikiLeaks reveals that when she speaks for several $100,000 to a big bank, she says she is a big supporter of free trade. In fact, my dream is the hemispheric common market with open trade and open borders. Let's ask the panel what they think of this. Libertarian Matt Welch, Republican Betsy McCoy, Democrat Jessica Tarlov. She's two-faced.
No, I mean, I love WikiLeaks, Hillary, and I love the real deal, too, and what you see on the campaign
How can you like them
trail.
both? They say the opposite
They
things.
don't really say the opposite thing. First of all, everyone skips over the fact that she said, my dream is. We all, especially politicians who know how hard it is to get things down in Washington, have to have ideals, things that they would like, and then be realistic about it. Hillary Clinton needed to consolidate the Democratic Party, facing a tough challenge from Bernie Sanders. She had to go against TPP. That's just a fact to win the nomination. When Trump people come out and he's riding high on this, and you talk about a man who he ran on that Muslim ban. There's no more Muslim ban.
Let's just stick to your candidate. You must like her a lot.
I love her.
Okay.
Before the transcripts of Hillary's speeches to the banks were leaked, she was asked this.
Can you assure the American people that you didn't say anything in those speeches that would undermine your promise to be tough on Wall Street and the big banks?
Absolutely.
She just lied. She said all kinds of those things in those speeches that I and Jessica even loves, and Wall Street loves, and progressives hate. For example, she was critical of some bank regulation. She said banks are not doing what they need to do because they're scared of regulations. As a result, credit isn't flowing the way it needs to restart economic growth. She was right. She even said that when it comes to financial regulation, the banks need to help us figure it out, make sure we do it right. The people that know the industry better than anybody are the people who work in the industry. That's true, but she would never say that at her rallies. At her rallies, she says this.
I'm going to be even tougher on the Wall Street banks.
So I guess all politicians do that. You just lie to please the ones you're with.
Yes, and as Jessica was saying, she faced this insurgency on her left flank with Bernie Sanders. What makes me really sad, not just about Hillary, but about the state of the Democratic Party, is what makes them excited right now is that. It's the $15 minimum wage. It's let's pretend to throw every banker in jail type of thing. It's not the good stuff. It's not the civil liberties. It's not ending the drug war. It's not being more humble in the foreign policy approach. So, yes, she is two-faced. Sadly, for me and for a lot of libertarians, this is the only thing that we can possibly like about Hillary is what she says behind closed doors to bankers. And even there with a caveat, because I don't want the banks to write the regulations either. I want there to be fewer regulations and much less corporatism.
Also, should we believe she means it when she's being paid to speak?
No. I mean, we shouldn't believe a politician, period.
Ever.
We certainly shouldn't believe Hillary Clinton. When the going gets tough, she lies about her own record serially and without any sense of compunction.
Last word on
And
this.
the most dangerous of these WikiLeaks demonstrate how she actually sold out American interests in order to benefit her foundation, the Clinton Foundation, for example, signing off on a deal that allows 25% of the nation's uranium supply to be in Russian hands. That's very disturbing.
Next, our panelists and my best and worst moments from the debate. We're back live arguing about the election. I ask our panelists to tell us their best and worst moments from the most recent debate. Jessica said her best moment was Hillary speaking up for abortion rights.
I will defend Roe v. Wade, and I will defend women's rights to make their own health care decisions.
This is that important to you?
That's very important to me. It's important also to a majority of women and men in America. And what I was saying, and we were discussing a little bit before we came back, wherever you fall on the debate here, I thought that it was a very thoughtful and impassioned defense of our right to choose. And I thought that after the language that Donald Trump used, where he said, rip the baby out the day before it's due, that it was really important for a major party nominee to talk that way.
Right to choose. So it's important to Democrats.
I think it's important to more than Democrats. Actually,
but you don't want people to have
libertarians.
You don't want people to have a right to choose their school or to carry a gun.
I do. Honestly, if charter schools do not take away from the strength of public schools, I'm all for it, isn't it?
Choose not to join a union. Democrats are all anti-choice except about abortion.
I don't agree with you, and I think you're twisting this segment now because you just asked me my best moment, not about unions.
Well, I get to push back.
That's true. You got to push back. But, yeah, I mean, we can talk about unions, obviously, and I understand that. And having
You're not allowed to buy a cheap health insurance policy, smoke weed, carry a gun for self-defense, pay people what they want, choose your kid's school. I mean, you want to work on the choice word.
That's right.
It's not about pro-choice. It's about
a woman's right to control her body. How about that?
Okay, and your favorite moment your least favorite moment?
Oh, it was just because I knew what was going to happen after this was when Trump said that he wasn't going to accept the results of the election. Then Chris Wallace even tried to give him a gimme there and say, like, oh, maybe you didn't hear me. And he's like, no. This is what? Do I believe that he won't accept the results?
No, Chris gave him a chance to say.
I saw Chris being interviewed today, and he was very clear about that because he knew what a big deal it was going to be and what a historic moment, because no nominee has done that. So he gave him another chance, and he doubled down on this, which I think is going to foment a lot of unrest after this election.
Matt said that was his worst moment, too, but he had another one. This one from Hillary.
I also will not add a penny to the debt. Doesn't add a penny to the debt. I do not add a penny to the national debt.
She said it 3 times. She must mean it.
Yeah, just like Barack Obama meant it in 2008 when he talked about, I'm actually going to enact a net spending cut. And he repeated it just about as often. And, of course, we didn't have anything remotely like that. To say this when you're not proposing a balanced budget just doesn't make any sense. And when you've added so many things, she's going to add Medicare eligibility for people who are 55 years old if they want to join in. We're going to expand Social Security. Where are we going to cut money so that we can afford all the stuff we can't? I mean, you can't just pay for this by taxing people more. It doesn't work that way.
Maybe this is just good politics, because if you talk cuts, you don't get elected.
It looks like it's good politics. Yeah.
The interesting thing is that in private, in one of those WikiLeaks speeches, she said that she supports the Simpson-Bowles plan for reducing the debt, which in Washington has a nickname, the cat food plan, because elderly people, that's all they'll be able to afford under Simpson-Bowles.
Well, something like that's going to happen either way.
You'll like it.
It's got to happen. From 1995 through Obama's first term, there were 17 consecutive State of the Union addresses, bipartisan, both sides, addressed long-term entitlements and debt and said this is a problem and we need to fix it. Barack Obama stopped talking about that. Bernie Sanders made sure we stopped talking about it. The Democratic Party in their platform said, no, we're going to live in fantasy land from now on. And the horrifying thing, as the next question showed us to Donald Trump, is he's in fantasy land, too. He thinks that we can just tax cut our way out of our entitlement problem, which is nonsense.
Well, I would like to point that out because
your cat food metaphor is bad because cat food costs more than people food.
That in itself
but let Matt give his favorite.
Yeah.
My favorite was Hillary Clinton when the temperament question came up, the Access Hollywood tape. She pivoted from there to several moments throughout this campaign that Donald Trump has behaved appallingly about people, singling them out as part of a group. And specifically the one, I think, which is the low point of the campaign in many ways, was when he singled out Judge Curiel because his parents happened to be from Mexico, that he wouldn't be able to judge fairly in a case. You are assigning collective guilt to an entire bunch of people. This is the lowest and nastiest part of the Donald Trump selling proposition.
That's also what got Republicans lit up, finally, was the Judge Curiel comments, because the Muslim ban and things like many, not all, but
Betsy said her favorite moment was the way Trump condemned partial birth abortion.
You can take the baby and rip the baby out of the womb of the mother just prior to the birth of the baby. Now, you can say that that's okay, and Hillary can say that that's okay, but it's not okay with me.
And most Americans believe that partial birth abortion is not okay. What bothered me was when Mrs. Clinton lied on the stage and said that partial birth abortions are done when a woman's health is in danger. In fact, the Guttmacher Institute has shown that partial birth abortions, very late-term abortions, are done for the very same reasons all other abortions are done.
And just
the
very
woman's
quickly,
health is seldom at risk.
Your best moment was Hillary. Your worst moment, Hillary's riff on gun control. Here's part of that.
Dozens of toddlers injure themselves, even kill people with guns.
That's not
she
what
was
the
referring
case
to the
was
Heller
about.
Amendment, and the court never mentioned toddlers.
Thank you, Betsy McCoy. Matt Welch, just